Okay, let's unpack this. Um, have you ever thought about, the big stories of life on Earth?
Hmm.
And maybe wondered if, like, there's a missing piece, a hidden chapter?
Yeah, totally.
Well, today, we're diving into this really extraordinary journey of a rebel dreamer,
Right.
a scientist who actually dared to ask, what if life didn't evolve by combat, but by networking?
That's such a great way to put it. And yeah, we're talking about Lynn Margulis,
Right.
a truly visionary scientist. Her ideas, they faced fierce resistance at first. Just wow.
Fierce is probably an understatement, right?
Oh, absolutely. But, they eventually rewrote our whole understanding of life itself. So we've gone through the sources you shared about her, pulled out the really key stuff,
Okay.
her big scientific breakthroughs, the challenges she faced, and honestly, the really profound lessons her story has for all of us
Yeah.
about persistence, connection, all that.
Yeah, exactly. And our mission here for this deep dive is basically to give you the shortcut. Get you really well informed about Margulis's revolutionary ideas. We're talking from tiny cells right up to, like, a planetary view of life.
It's quite the scope.
Totally. And we'll throw in some surprising facts, maybe a little humor, just to keep you hooked on this incredible story.
Sounds good.
So we're dealing with someone whose ideas became so fundamental. They're literally in every biology textbook now.
Yeah, foundational.
Can you even imagine the sheer, I don't know, audacity, the conviction it takes to look at centuries of scientific thought and just say, hang on a sec, you're missing something huge here?
It's incredible self-belief.
That's exactly what Lynn Margulis did. She boosted onto the scene in the 1960s, a pretty turbulent time.
Oh, yeah. Revolution in the air.
And her curiosity just zeroed in on this one big question. How did complex life, like us, actually arise on Earth? The answers she was hearing just felt, well, incomplete, like half a story.
Right. And that's where her genius really started to spark. Because the main view then, the dominant scientific idea, it was heavily leaning on a certain read of Darwin.
The competitive side.
Exactly. All about competition, struggle, individual survival. That was seen as the only way, really. Nature red in tooth and claw,
That classic phrase.
But Margulis, she saw something else, something more. Collaborative, a kind of hidden symphony others weren't hearing.
I like that, hidden symphony.
Yeah, she saw cooperation where others just saw conflict, and she put it so well. Life did not take over the globe by combat, but by networking. That was a radical thing to say back then.
By networking, I mean, just that phrase, it paints such a different picture, doesn't it?
Completely different.
And her main, most revolutionary idea, it tackled the very, building blocks of life. The cell.
Right, the eukaryotic cell.
Which is basically us.
Yeah.
Plants,
Yeah.
fungi, animals.
Yeah.
All that complex stuff.
All the non-bacterial life, yeah.
So for anyone who hasn't thought about cell biology since high school, eukaryotic cells are the complex ones, right? They've got a nucleus, other internal bits called organelles,
Compartments.
which simpler cells, like bacteria, usually lack. And the standard story was that these complex cells just evolved gradually, step by step, from one simple ancestor.
Yeah, slow, incremental change.
Margulis, she proposed something way more dramatic, like a massive ancient merger.
Exactly. She didn't see the cell as just, some cold machine in a fight for survival.
Right.
She imagined it more like a vibrant city, bustling, built from these really unlikely alliances of ancient microbes.
Wow, a city.
Yeah. And her most audacious claim was about mitochondria and chloroplasts.
Okay, the powerhouses.
Right. The bits that give us energy and let plants do photosynthesis. She said they weren't originally part of the eukaryotic cell. No way.
So where do they come from?
She said they were once totally free-living bacteria. Billions of years ago, they basically joined forces with another cell in this. Well, she called it a startling act of unity.
Endosymbiosis.
Endosymbiosis, that's the term. And this wasn't just tweaking evolutionary theory. This was like flipping the whole script, saying cooperation, this joining together, was a key driver of complexity, not just competition.
Okay, here's where it gets really wild and honestly kind of frustrating to hear about. You think an idea like that, if it's right, scientists would be like, wow, amazing, new insight.
You would hope so, wouldn't you?
Not quite. Her first paper explaining endosymbiosis, rejected, get this, 15 times.
15. It's staggering.
15. Can you imagine how discouraging that must have been? The self-doubt after that many no's, especially when you know you're onto something big.
It really says so much about her resolve, her persistence.
Incredible.
For Margulis, every rejection wasn't like the end of the road. She famously said it was just another stone in the mountain she was determined to climb.
Love that.
Her persistence wasn't just, being stubborn. It came from this deep conviction that her observations, the evidence she was gathering, it pointed to a basic truth the establishment was just missing.
Right.
She wasn't just questioning a theory. She was asking biologists to rethink the whole story of life, to see these amazing acts of, communion and teamwork alongside the struggle.
And it wasn't just the science she was fighting, was it?
No, not at all. Especially back then, the hurdles for women in science were huge. So she faced this extra layer of resistance, compounded by sexism. Some critics apparently just dismissed her as, just a woman with an idea.
Ugh. I mean, how many of us have felt that? Being overlooked, dismissed, just because we don't fit some preconceived notion?
It happens way too often.
Her story really resonates there. It's like an anthem for anyone who's had to fight to get their vision seen. But thankfully, like you said, the story didn't end with rejection.
No, thankfully not. Time and scientific progress, they have a way of sorting things out eventually.
They do?
And it's a powerful lesson, really, about the scientific method itself. If we connect this out, her theory eventually winning out, it just shows the power of solid, undeniable evidence. Because in the years after those first rejections, new tech started giving her the proof she needed.
Like what kind of tech?
Well, electron microscopes, for one. They showed the amazing bacterial similarities of mitochondria and chloroplasts.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they had their own DNA separate from the cell nucleus, and it was circular, just like bacterial DNA.
Wow.
They had their own ribosomes, too, the protein factories, also like bacteria. They even copied themselves independently inside the cell, just like free-living bacteria do.
So basically, tiny bacteria living inside our cells.
Pretty much. And their double membranes looked exactly like what you'd expect if one cell had engulfed another one way back when.
Right, the engulfment event.
And then genetic analysis came along and just nailed it, provided the final undeniable proof.
So the scientific world finally had to accept it.
They had no choice, really. The evidence was overwhelming. So now, Lynn Margulis's symbiosis theory, it's a cornerstone, taught everywhere.
It's just incredible. What was basically heresy, rejected 15 times, is now fundamental biology. It totally changes how we see ourselves, how life works. But her thinking didn't stop at the cell, did it? She went bigger.
Oh, much bigger. That's what's so fascinating, how her ideas about cooperation scaled up. She became a huge champion for the Gaia hypothesis.
Ah, Gaia. Working with James Lovelock, right?
Exactly. She collaborated closely with Lovelock, who was more of an independent scientist. She brought the biological rigor, the scientific weight to his Gaia idea.
And the Gaia hypothesis is essentially what the Earth itself is alive.
Sort of, yeah. Not alive like an animal, but as a complex, self-regulating system, a planet-wide partnership where all the living things, plants, animals, microbes, together with the rocks, the atmosphere, the oceans, they all interact to actively regulate conditions on Earth, keep it habitable for life.
So the whole planet is kind of like a giant superorganism constantly adjusting itself. That's mind-blowing.
It really is a profound shift in thinking.
What are some examples? Like, how does this self-regulation actually work?
Well, take the atmosphere, for instance. Oxygen is super reactive, right? Chemically, it shouldn't just hang around at a stable 21% for millions of years.
Right, it should react with stuff, get used up.
Exactly. Margulis and Lovelock argued that life itself, photosynthesis by plants and algae, mainly actively maintains that oxygen level. It's not just passive. Or think about global temperature, or even the saltiness of the oceans. They pointed to things like marine algae producing sulfur compounds, which help seed clouds. Clouds reflect sunlight, affecting Earth's temperature. So life is literally influencing the climate.
Wow. So life isn't just like adapting to the environment.
It's actively shaping it, creating and maintaining its own conditions. It really asks us to rethink our place, not as masters of nature, but as part of this incredibly intricate, living, connected system.
Yeah, definitely makes you see things differently. So she wasn't just a lab scientist. She was a philosopher, too, seeing connections everywhere.
Absolutely. And she wasn't just about publishing papers. She was apparently a really fierce mentor, encouraging students to think critically, to question things.
That's great.
Yeah, and she wrote a lot, making these complex ideas accessible to more people, which is so important.
Totally. But still, that journey. The sources say it was just littered with obstacles. Academic gatekeeping, sexism, feeling isolated. It makes you wonder, how did she actually keep going through all that?
That is such a key question, isn't it? What can we take away from how she handled all that adversity?
Yeah.
She had this famous saying or belief that the evidence will prevail. And she taught people, if you know you're right, accept rejection as a ticket to persistence.
A ticket to persistence.
Mhm.
I like that.
Yeah. For her, challenges weren't walls. They were more like proving grounds.
Yeah.
Tests for her ideas and for her own belief in them.
Right.
Every setback just became part of the story, turning adversity into fuel. She showed that finding and defending scientific truth, it takes real tenacity, sometimes a lifetime of effort for ideas that are truly worth it.
That is so powerful. I mean, how often do we let one rejection, or even just the fear of it, stop us?
Too often.
Or we have a great idea, but we just get tired of fighting for it against, how things have always been done.
Right, the inertia of convention.
Margulis's life just proves that having the courage to keep going, even when people scoff or doubt you, or you feel totally alone in what you believe, that's where greatness really comes from.
Yeah.
She just refused to be comfortable and conform.
She really did. And instead, her ideas, they just echoed with this brilliance that eventually the whole world had to listen.
Yeah.
And, connecting this to the bigger picture again. Her story is just this powerful testament to the idea that knowledge isn't just about knowing stuff. It's about understanding it deeply, testing it hard, and then having the guts to apply it. It really highlights that truth often needs champions, people with immense tenacity. She didn't just get some facts into textbooks. She offered a whole new way of seeing life.
The symphony, not the solos.
Exactly. Reality as this complex, interactive symphony, not just isolated struggles, showing that life's biggest leaps often come from collaboration, from unity.
From those ancient mergers.
Right, from microbial mergers all the way up to how the planet regulates itself. Her Gaia work ties it all together beautifully, this deep interconnectedness.
So thinking about all this, what does her incredible journey mean for you listening right now?
Yeah, what's the takeaway?
Margulis's path, well, it was clearly full of obstacles. We mentioned the gatekeeping, the sexism, the isolation.
Definitely not an easy road.
Yet through it all, she taught us something vital. Adversity isn't the end. It's often the start of transformation.
A catalyst.
She showed that having the courage to persist, to really hold on to your vision when people doubt you or scorn you, that's the fire where greatness is forged.
It really is.
She just refused that comfort of fitting in and instead let her ideas ring out with this brilliance that couldn't be ignored forever.
So the inspiration is,
Let her legacy kind of animate your own life, maybe. Persist when things get tough, question things deeply, imagine boldly, and refuse the easy path of conformity. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What world could you build if you refuse to give up?